everybody, Tony D and Little Joan here with little bit about this site called Imgur that I post on. In order to promote the Webcomic Factory, I sometimes post to Imgur, or I pretty much consistently do for the comics. This is Tales of Pizza from Friday, which always does very well. It's always about a working class guy delivering pizzas, and Big Star Max just knocks it out of the park every time. So, I get totally positive, uh, you know, post here. They all love it. And then in contrast, when I post something political, let's see if I can find it. Okay. So this is the Anti-War Comic from yesterday. Anti-War Comic. Commies never win. So first let me read you the comic. Now obviously it's satire, right? So the first panel has Antifa doing stuff, and the caption is, in 2020, the George Floyd riots led by Antifa and BLM changed America for the better. Now this is, again, satire. Donald Trump resigned in October of 2020, having finally been convinced of Antifa's arguments and superiority of mob rule. And then I have Trump saying, you Antifa people are great. Why didn't you just explain your superior position in the first place? And there you see a mob carrying signs that say equity, looters' lives matter, and free stuff. And then you got a picture of a judge, and he says, our judicial system was dismantled. And the judge says, thank God we don't have to follow mutually agreed upon laws. Anything other than mob rule would be racist. And then you got a picture of Antifa, and this is from another anti-war thing where the Antifa guys beat up two Marine reservists outside the Constitution Hall in Philadelphia. But the caption is, instead of cops, random black bloc members dispense effective justice whenever. And the guy getting beaten says, I deserve this beating for attempting to start a protest over masks. A beating is the only way I will learn. And then the fifth panel is a member of Antifa with pink hair. And she says, okay, we get it. You're using satire to say that Antifa are hypocrites and failures. Actually, mob rule is really effective. Like if you know the person is innocent, or like they're guilty, it totally saves money. Our message is about real equity, so F off. And then the final panel is a building burning and a guy with a gas can who's in a hoodie saying, another completed peaceful protest. Makes me feel good to make everyone equal. Okay, so that's the comic. Obviously, it's a send-up of Antifa. And so process that a minute, and I'm going to read you some of the comments because I think I triggered a few snowflakes. So the first comment, and I got 6 of them altogether. I think 2 of them are mine. One person says, quote, riots led by BLM. It's not in the comic anywhere. I just read it to you. That's not a line from the comic. What it says is, in 2020, the George Floyd riots led by Antifa and BLM changed America for the better. But she quotes it, or he quotes it, or they quote it, as riots led by BLM. It's not a quote. And then they say, Tony DiGerolamo obviously loves to project his racist feelings over facts. What a retard. Oh, we shouldn't use that word. That's a politically incorrect term, person of whoever you are. And then someone posts this, which is like a search of, I guess, right-wing violence. And, I guess to prove to me that the FBI is looking for right-wing white supremacists, although some of this is from prior to 2020. And then a search for Antifa, and there's only results of 1 of 1. See, there's 3,800 results for far-right violence, and Antifa only gets 1 result. Therefore, he's proven his point. See how quickly you can prove your point with a search engine on the FBI? Oh, so wise. Somebody also posted the Randy meme on South Park of him pooing. I guess I can't really show that. And then somebody says, hypocrisy. Gosh, if this isn't the pot calling the kettle black. I'm not sure. I guess they mean me. I'm the hypocrite in that, I guess. Or are they agreeing with me? I can't really tell. But you could see the kind of negative. And then I got minus 13. See, where is it? I'm up 53 on Tales of Pizza. Do something political that people don't agree with. And the Imgur hive mind doesn't agree. Minus 13. So, just a little insight into some of the social media. Why do I do the Antiwar Comic? Well, because there's lots of stuff to talk about, And these aren't easy issues, and I don't do it, for the love of Imgur. I mean, these guys will vote up a picture of anything. But, it's the old adage. Like, if you don't have something nice to say, keep it to yourself kind of thing. And none of this mentioned race. None of it mentioned race. I mean, I guess you can count BLM as mentioning race, but, when BLM is mostly represented by a huge mob of violent white people, I don't know why you would support them. I don't know why you'd imply that I'm a racist for criticizing them. Clearly, they are the ones obsessed with race and gender and equity and all that nonsense. And look what it does. Look what happened in Portland last night. Look what's been happening in Portland for over 3 months and across the country. These people don't care about police reform or police anything. They only care to tear down the system. It's a postmodernist Marxist view. You tear down the system, and step 1, tear down the system. Step 2, step 3, profit, as they said in South Park. A lot of it reminds me of, and I was thinking about this today. There's a great line in The Simpsons back before they became woke too and were ruined, and it went something like this. Homer was, he was getting caught up in his lies, and he just kept lying to try to get out of it. And Lisa eventually says to him something like, "Dad, why are you doing this?" And because Homer's come up with another scheme that obviously isn't going to work. And Homer says, "Lisa, honey, if everybody believes this, then all of Daddy's lies will be true." And that's kind of how I see the left now, and especially the Democrats. If they could just get into power, all their lies will be true, right? See, if they get into power, then they could actually prosecute Donald Trump, because then they could rig the system to make sure he goes to jail this time. See, they couldn't before. He was the president, and he's got money, and they went after him. If he wasn't president, they could just wear him down. He's got enough money. I still don't think he'd go to prison, but, eventually he'd negotiate. His lawyers would negotiate some kind of thing. So this is the desperate play of the Democrats. They're putting all their eggs into this destroy America basket in hopes that they get elected and then they can undo it all. But they're just digging a hole deeper and deeper and deeper. And meanwhile, everybody else suffers, but not them. I mean, the people at the top, they're all millionaires. What do they care? They don't have a business that's being smashed up by Antifa. They don't have a kid who's been caught up in this ideology who's going to jail. They don't care about any of those people. They will forget you. And their media mavens, they love you now. But once they get the word, don't cover these riots. It's hurting us. It's hurting you don't want Donald Trump to win, do you? Oh, I guess I don't. Oh, I guess I won't write that article. That's what they do. It comes down from on high. They only have to, in order to get at like a newspaper or TV news people, you just have to get at the couple of key people. You don't have to get everybody. You just have to get at the people who are in charge. And the people who are in charge are behind the scenes. It's not the anchors. They're not in charge. They make a lot of money. They're the faces, but they're not in charge. Behind the scenes, they tell these people, hey, we're going to get away from that. It's not really a ratings grabber. So we're going to move on to this. That's what's going to happen. And Antifa, you won't even be able to find them in the news anymore. They will dwindle to a few thousand members, very violent members, because as they dwindle in numbers, they'll get more violent. And then you won't hear about them, And in fact, they'll spin it the opposite way. They'll say, another former protester, formerly peaceful protester, goes to jail. That's the best you'll get. You won't get like Antifa goes to jail or anything like that. But these guys are going to jail. And, the people in Imgur who are kind of trying to front for them, look, they're just a bunch of kids. They don't know anything. Half the people on the internet, they're in high school or they're in college, and they just talk a big game. They don't really know anything. Or they're bored at work, or they're adults, but they're bored at work, and they've got their opinions, and they stumble upon things, and they say things because, it says more about their own insecurity. I mean, this person couldn't even quote the comic correctly. There's only 6 panels in the whole damn comic. You talk about a straw man. You misquote it. and by the way, my reply was not a quote from the comic. So, this is the level you're dealing with. And a guy who did a website search and posted the results. Like, he went to the trouble of doing the screenshots, putting them together, and then posting them here. That he can do. That he spends effort doing. Actually reading about what's going on, actually finding good information for news, that he doesn't have time for. He just trusts that the FBI website will tell him everything he needs to know. Or he probably didn't even make this. Maybe he just copped it from somewhere else. I mean, that would be my guess. A lot of these people do that too. It's like, oh, well, somebody showed me this. Well, I'm going to use it too. I'll save it. And then, whenever these Trumpers, start saying stuff, well, I'll post this. I'll show them. Yeah. I don't know. It's like the political equivalent of, it's not even dabbling. I mean, you guys just, you don't have much to say. And, you can knock my comic down and get me only 95 views. But I got other comics. I got plenty of other comics. Today on Tales of Pizza. Well, that was a couple days ago. 1,500 views. So that's not too bad. And, I've gotten views. The Antiwar Comic back during the Bush era, I guess it was. No, I guess it was early Obama administration. I got over 100,000 views on one. Went viral. That's because at that point, I was agreeing with a lot of the lefties. I was calling out Frank Miller for his, I guess you'd call it overexuberance. But that is another story. So anyhow, this is the Webcomic Factory. If you want to go to the actual site and not hear these idiots, today is miserable comedians and making a joke. And if you go to the site, enjoy yourself, because we have many, 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 many comics. These are all different comics. You read them. See, the ones in black, they are finished. They're completely finished. The ones in green, they're not kind of finished, but some of them kind of are. But they, have their own runs. These purple ones, these were ones I may come back to at some point. Intergalactic Medical Doctor's probably done. I should probably put that down. And then the blue ones are the current ones. They're up top, and you can read absolutely free. So thank you. This is Tony D and Little Joan bidding you adieu.